We return to the Pokemon Scramble. There's no rest for the weary, as the teams that just fought it out in Losers Round 3 must immediately take another battle here in Losers Round 4 against the teams that lost in the winners' quarterfinals. Today, Grif will face Ariachiba, Raptor will battle FadedOasis, Bandit will duel Diaz, and Pyunidae will scrap with Domo. We're starting off with Grif versus Ariachiba. Grif's team succumbed to his own greed in the previous round as Xerneas went for multiple Geomancies, not putting out a single point of damage. Giratina suffered much the same fate, taking a dragon move to the face as it swapped in, and then dying before it could accomplish anything. The rest of Grif's team was unable to secure a victory, dropping him down here to the losers bracket. His team still has a lot of power behind it if he can string together the right sequence of moves. Ariachiba has lost only a single Pokemon after her first round defeat. Since then, she hasn't even bothered to bring her Farigiraf to battles. It hasn't been necessary. She has once again gotten her good luck charm in female Pyroar, but has a much tougher opponent than those she has been wiping the floor with up till now. Will her momentum, coming off of 2 battles where she didn't lose a single Pokemon, amount to anything against an angry Grif's team that doesn't want to be in the losers bracket and wants to prove why it was named the villain of the tournament? Let's find out if Ariachiba's statement victories amount to anything in the face of a strong opponent, or if Grif snuffs out her candle and starts marching toward the finals from the losers bracket. Grif starts out with Xerneas as usual, Ariachiba with Basculegion. Ariachiba's going to swap to Ho-Oh as Xerneas gets a Geomancy in. That's gonna boost 3 stats, but Ho-Oh brings a Brave Bird, taking over half damage off Xerneas and about 20% off itself. Grif swaps to Giratina, but a Brave Bird is gonna take a little under half off of that. Shadow Ball hits Ho-Oh, brings it down to the yellow. Sacred Fire resisted by Giratina. Draco Meteor is going to kill Ho-Oh. That's not good for Ariachiba. Luxray comes in, and Grif gonna swap to Ursaluna, takes a Throat Chop, not too bad there. Both Pokemon going to burn themselves for Guts, and a Superpower is going to kill Ursaluna. Luxray, the superior Guts user. Xerneas comes in and uses Moonblast. See, Xerneas, you don't need Geomancy, you can just kill stuff. Pyroar comes in, and it's going to overheat the Xerneas, killing it but reducing its own special attack by half. Beheeyem comes out, and Machamp is going to swap in on a Psychic. That's awkward for it as it's super effective. Stone Edge not quite half to Beheeyem, and Beheeyem finishes off Machamp. Basculegion is going to come in as Grif swaps to Giratina. That is going to eat a Shadow Ball, which would have been super effective on Beheeyem or Giratina. Not a great swap there. Gonna get the Water type out of the way of the Grass move. Giga Drain hits Pyroar not very effectively. Gonna get the Grass type out of the way of the Fire move. The Water type takes the overheat very well. Pyroar gonna swap to Basculegion as Mantine uses Agility, boosting its speed. Ice Beam fishing for a freeze, gets the freeze, but an immediate thaw and a counter Agility from Basculegion, bringing its speed up as well. Shadow Ball going to drop Mantine's special defense. Another Ice Beam, no freeze this time. Shadow Ball now enough to kill thanks to that special defense drop. Vileplume gonna have a super effective move into Basculegion, but it's not gonna be very effective as Ariachiba swaps to Pyroar. Grif swaps back to Beheeyem, which is able to tank a Flamethrower, but Beheeyem, much slower than Pyroar, dies to a second Flamethrower. Vileplume all that's left, and a Flamethrower will kill the Vileplume. Ariachiba has defeated Grif, forced to use 5 of her Pokemon, still not bothering to bring Farigiraf to a battle, but Ariachiba had some great swaps in that matchup, had a bit of luck in thawing from the freeze, but it required some bad luck to freeze in the first place. I liked the sort of mirrored quality we had in that match with the 2 Guts users facing off and the 2 Agility users facing off. I think those might have been the only 2 Pokemon in the tournament that had Agility, so that was an interesting thing to see. Ariachiba's team got along without Ho-Oh in the end, as it was the first thing to go down for the team, and she did lose Machamp without it getting to deal any damage, but Luxray, Pyroar, and Basculegion picked up the slack and got Ariachiba what I would consider an underdog victory. I'm not sure if her Farigiraf has gone missing or what has happened there. It appears to still be on the bench, but no proof of that in the last 4 battles. We'll see if that's a story that develops. But Grif, dubbed the villain of the tournament, defeated much earlier than expected. Many congratulations to Ariachiba for pulling off the upset. Our second battle today will be Raptor versus FadedOasis. Raptor's previous match was a close loss, where his Poliwrath didn't get to participate after being frozen and locked out of the battle until it was killed. Poliwrath is going to be very important to Raptor's team this time because the rest of his team is all weak to fire damage, and Faded has a Hisuian Arcanine that brings massive fire damage to threaten the rest of his team. Faded will be flipping his own fire weakness on its head this round, as his opponent doesn't have any fire to fear. Hisuian Arcanine will be the key to Faded's victory, but Beartic's ice attacks will come in handy against 3 of Raptor's team as well. Faded's team is now fully evolved, as the little Mantike that could has evolved into a Mantine. The original plan was for Mantine to get an entirely reworked moveset, but it's done so well as a Mantike in the last 2 matches that after it evolved it was given leftovers and roost, and otherwise kept largely the same. Why mess with success? If Raptor can pit his Poliwrath against Hisuian Arcanine, he may stand a chance, or if he can take out that Arcanine before it can start dealing massive damage to his team. If Poliwrath cannot be brought to bear, Arcanine and the rest of Faded's team may feast on Raptor's not fully evolved team. Here goes, Raptor versus FadedOasis. Raptor starts out with Poliwrath, Faded with Klefki. Klefki gonna get up a Reflect to reduce the damage from that Earthquake. Now Poliwrath gonna swap over to Waterfalls as a Draining Kiss critically hits, healing Klefki to full and proccing Poliwrath Citrus Berry. Another Waterfall from Raptor. This one will flinch the Klefki, and Raptor continues with the offense. No more flinches, but another Draining Kiss critical hit will heal Klefki to full and kill the 1 resistance to Arcanine. Faded spots that immediately and swaps in Arcanine. Is met with another Toxic Spikes from Venipede, as both have a defense boost, but Flare Blitz will kill the Venipede and poison Hisuian Arcanine on Poison Point. Shiftry comes in and takes some Pointed Stones damage, gets a Sucker Punch in, but that defense boost helping Hisuian Arcanine. Flare Blitz going to kill the Shiftry as Poison continues to bleed out the Arcanine. Roserade, the next in front of Hisuian Arcanine, dies to another Flare Blitz. Arcanine getting huge value for Faded. Phantump, the next in its line, Flare Blitz going to kill again. Arcanine just on a tear here, brings Raptor down to his last Pokemon, which is Ice-Q. Flare Blitz will hit, but Ice Face will block all of that damage, and a Waterfall will kill Hisuian Arcanine. Raptor, not out of this yet. Fortress doesn't take poison because it's part steel type. Snowscape going to bring Ice Face back, but a Rapid Spin will not only clear the Ice Face, but it will clear the Toxic Spikes off and give a speed boost. Ice-Q, still faster than Fortress, lands a Waterfall and gets it to flinch. It's going to need a lot of those because Fortress is incredibly bulky. Body Press hits Ice-Q down to the yellow, and the berry doesn't even quite bring it up to half. Another Waterfall, and Fortress is going to land a Body Press, killing Ice-Q and winning the match for Faded. Faded, only losing 1 Pokemon, had some great strategy. After killing the Poliwrath, immediately swapped in Hisuian Arcanine and went to town with Flare Blitzes. Rockhead coming in very handy for Hisuian Arcanine. Raptor, unfortunately, will not see his final evolution, still with 3 left on the table. A bit of power left in some of those Pokemon, but I'm not sure it would have mattered, as Raptor's team's massive weakness to fire was going to hurt him no matter who he came up against. Everyone left in the losers bracket has fire Pokemon or fire moves, and playing around that debilitating weakness just turned out too much for his team. Raptor is eliminated. And in Faded's most dominating performance to date, he will continue on with his fully evolved team. Match number 3 today pits Pyunidae against Domo. There's some similarities between these teams. Each of them carries a weather move, with Pyunidae's Pignite carrying Sunny Day and 2 Pokemon on Domo's side carrying Rain Dance. Both teams are a single evolution away from fully evolved. Both teams have a little bit of type overlap. Both teams have a little bit of weakness to fire damage and fire Pokemon to put out that kind of damage. Pyunidae's most recent loss came at the hands of a team carrying legendary Pokemon, much as Domo has in Glastrier. Domo's team also has a Kingdra now, which once again has the Swift Swim ability. So if Domo does make it rain, his team will be incredibly fast. We also get to see 2 Pokemon on the same evolutionary line battle it out once again, this time with Pyunidae's Pignite looking up to Domo's fully evolved Emboar. In this battle of similarities, which Pokemon will make the difference as Pyunidae battles Domo? Domo starts out with Emboar, Pyunidae with Hariyama. Domo gonna swap to Kingdra, Pyun to Galarian Weezing. Fairy is a good matchup into Dragon. Hurricane lands but does not confuse. Strange Steam lands but does not confuse. Both of those moves have a chance for a Rider confusion effect. Another Hurricane and another Strange Steam land, and Galarian Weezing gets the better of the interaction, killing the Kingdra. Toxic Poison applied to Glastrier and high horsepower will kill the Weezing. Now that neutralizing gas is off the field, Glastrier can gain the effects of Chilling Neigh. Hariyama going to bulk up as well, gaining an attack and defense boost and surviving the high horsepower, burning itself with a Flame Orb. Drain Punch going to be enough to kill Glastrier with that Guts boost and heal Hariyama back into the green. Ludicolo with a Scald, 40% but can't burn because it's already burned, and a Drain Punch brings Hariyama back to about half, killing Ludicolo. Pyun up by 2 Pokemon at this point, but that's going to be reduced immediately as a Flare Blitz will kill the incoming Scolipede. Poison Point is applied to Emboar, so at least it got some value, as Pignite faces down its older sibling. Head Smash takes Pignite down into the yellow. Drain Punch brings Emboar to the red, but heals Pignite a little over half. Emboar going to finish off Pignite with Head Smash, but the recoil damage will be enough to kill Emboar, both of them going down at once. Now Ceruledge with a Bitter Blade into the Beartick, super effective and kills it, puts everything on Yungoos, which terastallizes to Psychic, but a Bitter Blade will kill the Yungoos and will defeat Domo. Pyunidae gets the better of the matchups with a Fairy type into a Dragon, and at the end a Fire type into an Ice. Domo, unable to get more than a single kill out of his legendary horse, is going to be defeated. Neither team using their weather effects, just going straight for damage, and Pyunidae comes out the victor. Pyunidae's team starting to prove that you don't need a legend or a mega or anything like that to compete in this tournament. Their team has defeated a mega Pokemon, their team has defeated a legendary Pokemon. The only team that's beaten them so far has had both. Pyunidae turns their fortunes around and gets back in the winning way. Domo could have benefited from having some rain out so that Beartick could have gone before the Ceruledge, but unfortunately for him, no rain, no gain. Domo is eliminated. In our final match of Losers Round 4, we will see Bandit square off with Diaz. It seems that there's a lot of teams in this tournament that have a weakness to fire, and Bandit is among them, with 3 Pokemon that take super effective damage from it. In his previous match, Bandit's last 3 Pokemon alive were all weak to fire, and got burnt to a crisp by a Ho-Oh. With an Entei looking across the field from him this time, he's gonna need a different strategy, or he could suffer the exact same fate. Jellicent would be a solid option to pit against that Entei, and with Recover to keep it healthy, Bandit can hopefully keep it alive long enough to make the difference there. Diaz's team is now fully evolved, with Annihilate being added to the mixture. This Annihilate has the Defiant ability, so if Bandit decides to lower any of its stats, its attack will raise by 2 stages. It's also a potential sweeping threat, with Bulk Up, Drain Punch, and Rage Fist. So the more you hit it, the more damage it does, and can heal itself by beating your Pokemon senseless. Will Bandit's team return to having sunny days, or will he be the next to go down in Diaz's flames? Annihilate on the field first for Diaz, Claydol for Bandit. Ice Punch, super effective into Claydol. Psychic, super effective and deals more than half to Annihilate. Annihilate swaps to Drain Punch to try and get some healing, but it's not enough as Psychic will kill Diaz's newest evolved Pokemon. Throw comes out. It's going to survive a Psychic and knock off Claydol, which is going to take it down in addition to taking away its Heat Rock. Leafeon comes out, and Diaz is going to swap over to Dragalge. Dragalge takes a Body Slam pretty well. Healing up from leftovers, Bandit decides to swap to Jellicent. That's a bit risky, but it does tank the Sludge Bomb really well. Hex is going to hit Dragalge for about 20%. Sludge Bomb doing about 12. That's going to be disabled on Dragalge now, so Jellicent takes some time to heal up, but a Draco Meteor drops it about a third. Dragalge, still disabled with special attack reduced, Diaz is going to swap it out to clear those things off and get a photosynthesis boost on his Sandy Shocks. It's going to use Thunderbolt into the Jellicent, which will put Toxic Poison on Sandy Shocks. Bandit needs to keep this Jellicent healthy, and he does swap it out. Earth Power hits Obstagoon for 70%, and Sandy Shocks ticks away with some poison. Obstruct going to give that Toxic more time to ramp in damage, but not have any extra effects. Earth Power killing the Obstagoon. Bandit down to 4 Pokemon. Leafeon comes out. Entei going to be swapped in and take a Body Slam. No paralysis there, and Bandit goes to the Jellicent. That's a good resistance, but Sacred Fire will still kill from there. Jellicent, Cursed Body is going to turn off the Sacred Fire for now, giving Bandit a chance to get Leafeon in safely. Body Slam will hit the Dragalge and paralyze it. You needed that on the Entei, really. Here comes Entei again. Body Slam. No paralysis this time. Sacred Fire. Leafeon will survive that. I'm impressed by the durability there. Another Body Slam, no paralysis. Sacred Fire kills the Leafeon. Klefki comes in. It's going to switcheroo. This seems very familiar. Sacred Fire kills the Klefki. Toxic Poison will hit the Entei, but it won't do any damage till the next turn. And there will be no next turn as Sacred Fire kills the Victory Bell. Diaz winning the battle. Bandit, a bit of deja vu there, down to his last 3 Pokemon, all 3 weak to fire, looking across the field at a Fire-type Legendary, and just getting burnt to a crisp. The Cursed Body proc on Entei was useful, but Diaz immediately swapped out to get rid of it, swapped right back, and the Body Slams did not paralyze the Entei, only got that luck on the Dragalge, and that was not where Bandit needed it, so Bandit going to be defeated by his fire weakness, much the same as in a previous battle. Diaz getting a strong performance out of his Entei, only losing 1 Pokemon, has a solid victory today, and will move on to the next round. Your winners here today from Losers Round 4, FadedOasis, Ariachiba, Diaz, and Pyunidae. The next video of the Pokemon Scramble will contain the semi-final rounds for the winners and losers brackets. On the winner's side, Jen will face Flareolin, and Callisti will face Heller. On the loser's side, FadedOasis and Ariachiba will battle to see who continues the perfect losers bracket run and who is eliminated. And Diaz will face Pyunidae, with Diaz bringing a Legendary and a Paradox Pokemon against Pyun's team trying to prove that you can win this tournament without either. Many of the teams that I predicted to be top contenders in this battle have already been eliminated. Other teams have risen to look unstoppable in the winner's bracket, and some teams in the loser's bracket have had statement match after statement match, defeating strong opponents after their initial loss. Stick with me as the Pokemon Scramble crescendos towards its climax and the battles keep heating up, as almost every team is reaching its full evolutionary potential. The battles have continued to be furious, often with surprising results. But that's just what I'd expect from those of you brave enough to participate in the Pokemon Scramble.